here lies Jason. A misunderstood man with a heart of gold. He had many different passions, from hockey to camping, tag with his friends. He couldn't enter a room without people screaming for joy. I think I speak for us all when I say he would be greatly missed. Life simply won't be the same without him.
Friday the 13th, for those who somehow live under a bigger rock than I do, is a series of horror movies starring the hockey mask-wearing killer known as Jason Voorhees. Since the first movie in 1980, the series has had numerous sequels and spin-offs, cementing Jason as one of the most iconic characters in all of horror. But despite his fame, the franchise's right holders have been reluctant to allow many video games to be made using the brand. Jason has only had a handful of appearances, such as a classic NES game, a PC game, a few mobile games, and cameos in fighting games. A complete smorgasbord of appearances, yet none provided a modern game adaptation of the movies. That is, until October 13th, 2015, when a game previously known as Slasher Volume 1 Summer Camp evolved into Friday the 13th, the game, and begun their Kickstarter journey, eventually becoming one of the most crowdfunded projects of all time. Just a year and a half later, on May 26, 2017, the world was blessed with the game's release. It was an open-world, asymmetrical horror survival game, where the main objective was to traverse the camp to either survive the night as a counselor or kill as many people as possible as Jason. Each lobby contained 8 players, and at the start of each match, one player would randomly be chosen to be Jason, although you could set a preference to influence who you got to play as. There were 8 different Jasons that players could choose between, with each one having different appearances and stats depending on which movies they were based off. There was also a special Jason created by special effects artist Tom Savini, who worked on a few movies that was exclusively made for the game and given to backers of the Kickstarter.
A cool concept, but everybody that played as him was really sweaty and tryhard, which kinda made me hate the guy.
Jason's goal was straightforward: kill as many counselors as possible before they could escape or before time ran out. Being a one-man army meant that Jason players were equipped with powerful abilities like teleporting, shifting, and traps, all while being immune to death.
Asterisk.
There were 14 counselors, each with varying stats, such as strength, stealth, luck, and stamina. While most were inspired by characters from the movies, a few like Fox and Sheldon were directly from the movies and portrayed by their actors. There were also a few characters modeled after high-tier Kickstarter patrons. But the most infamous character was Goth Hannah Baker, because too many people would just sit in a bush AFK for 20 minutes and Jason could never find her due to her insane stealth stat. Like, why are you even playing the game at this point? How is this fun for you? Even though counselors started with nothing more than a flashlight, they weren't completely defenseless, as they could explore the map to find items that would aid them in their escape. For counselors to win, they had to escape the map or survive 20 minutes without being murdered. Methods of escape included a car and a boat, which required finding the missing parts, installing them, and then driving away while avoiding Jason. Players could also find and repair a telephone, which allowed them to call the cops and escape that way after a certain amount of time had passed.
Except there was another way to end the match, by killing Jason. Remember the asterisk?
Killing a beast like Jason was no easy task. You needed specific items, characters, and perhaps the most challenging aspect of all, teamwork between 7 random people. Counselors first needed to call in the help of Tommy Jarvis, a character directly from one of the films. A random dead player would then spawn as Tommy with his maxed out stats and shotgun. You also needed a female character to sneak into Jason's hut and steal his mother's sweater. After knocking Jason's mask off, the sweater wearer invoked Jason's mommy issues, then Tommy could cut off his head and end the match. When the game first released, it was a true battle of survival, as you could actually team kill your fellow counselors. Nothing was scarier than randomly killing a teammate only for them to respawn as Tommy and instantly get their revenge. Sadly, the team killing didn't last long and was quickly removed. That's when we had to get creative with our team kills, through the use of cars and bear traps. Yeah, I might be a psychopath.
I picked this game up about a month after release, and I instantly fell in love with it, which is surprising because I'm not really one for horror games. I've been known to startle easily. But this game wasn't meant to be scary, or if it was, it didn't do a good job. It was more of a vibe, and a huge part of the fun was interacting with all these different people in these huge, messy lobbies.
The game started off strong, but the numerous bugs and lack of content quickly became an issue for many players. There was eventually a roadmap that inspired confidence for a short time, until the end began. In June of 2018, just a year after the game released, the developers announced that there would no longer be any new content produced for the game. This came off the back of a lawsuit filed against them by the creator of the Friday the 13th franchise. After that, it was a slow fade to darkness for the game, with dedicated servers being shut down in 2020, a delist from virtual stores in 2023, and an eventual shutdown at the end of 2024.
Despite all its issues, this game will always hold a special place in my heart. From its once bustling lobbies full of screaming little kids to smoking adults, I made an enormous amount of fond memories playing this game, and I'll miss every second of it. Except for when I had to spectate people hiding all match. There's a special place with Jason for all them.